Hey, okay, my name is Mike, or that was a weird hey. Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna restart that. My name is Mike Kubera. Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about ETCH, a payment processing. I was like thinking, I want to use the word revolutionary somewhere in there, but then it's gonna look really cheesy and oh my goodness. But wait, if we're talking about cheesy, just look at me. Oh my goodness, corny. There we go. But yeah, okay, so technically it's revolutionary because these guys are one of a kind. Now, they do have some competitors, although the competitors will be using the platform that they are creating. So, in reality, there is no competition for these guys in the crypto sphere yet. And that is a lot to work with. So, pretty much what this is, the traditional payment systems for companies in construction or just really any payroll system, but construction is the main one they'll be focusing on, moving into other industries in the future where it's going for low paying jobs, low wage jobs that feature contractors. And it's not like, full time, it's just an independent project, or maybe it's multiple projects with the same employer. It's one individual or a group of individuals that would actually prefer to get paid every single day. Now, usually the standard is you get paid bi-weekly, or you get paid once a month, and that's it. So for some people, that's really nice because, okay, you're able to manage all your savings, you get paid once a month, you don't spend it all. But for other people, it's horrible because you don't have your money when you need it. And a lot of us would agree that the majority can handle our money. We're not going to spend it all away straight at the Louis Vuitton store. And it just kind of sucks that, oh my goodness, let's say rent's on the 4th and you need to pay on the 15th. Well, oh my, it just doesn't make sense because you're gonna have to wait a little bit, and this immediately pays you. You're able to use it. It's an application that transforms the crypto straight into something that you're able to pay for groceries, or you're able to pay for your bills, or whatever it is, right? Anyways, I'm not gonna make this video too long from my side. So for all the details, you can check out the interview, which will be shifting through that right now. And I guess I'm gonna try and make this, it's gonna be the longest video on my channel yet, where I'm gonna do very little edits. I want you guys to soak up as much information as possible. For those who are not interested in this at all, well, feel free to leave because it is being served for those who feel that this may be necessary for the world that they were going into. Now, before the video starts, I just wanna make sure that, you guys remember all the links and stuff will be in the description below. All right, let's dive into this. What got you guys started into the project, and why did you decide to go forward with this option? Because there was so many different options of, well, I didn't have to make an ICO, so I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, well, I first looked at this about 2.5 years ago when I first sat down and listened to an Ethereum it was an Ethereum pitch from one of the guys in London, in the London Bitcoin Expo. And I just, when they were talking about smart contracts and DAOs, and I just thought, wow, these token sales sounds amazing. I could see them being a really elegant way for companies to raise money. And that's 2.5 years ago. And it's taken until now for everybody else to catch up and for the legal team to say, yep, you're good to go. So that's why, that's why, I just think it's an amazing, the old model of VCs is dead.
Right, right.
They can forget about it. Yeah. It's now, the crowdfunding in itself, which was the last wave, when you think, when you have your customers actually buying in and they're championing your product, it's a powerful thing.
And with the traditional route of VCs, that's a very difficult path to go down because they're very busy individuals with like 100 different propositions at the same time. They're just going to glance over something, and even if it's a fantastic idea, they're just not, they're not going to be able to look at it fully. They're not going to be able to understand it. It's very, very difficult with that. While here, with an ICO, you're able to reach a lot more viewers And it can be anyone pretty much. Someone who's not even into the niche or industry, they're like, oh, well, I have $5, $20, $100. There we go. We go in like that. And I'm kind of, I'm looking at the website right now. So for the viewers out there right now, it says right here that ETCH is pretty much going for real-time payments, and it's involving high-interest loans. And well, for high-interest loans, those are a thing of the past. So could you go a little bit more into that?
Yeah, let me take that. So fundamentally, we are looking at reinventing payroll. And that initially, the website targets construction industry because we have to start somewhere, and it was a wonderful place to start. Lots of short-term workers, industry that Euros and I know in great detail, with him having a background in construction and architecture, and myself being involved in UCL's construction blockchain consortium, which put us in a great position at the beginning of the year to get there. But once we started looking at payroll, we started seeing opportunities across the entire ecosystem, because this starts with money getting in the hands of employees. And ultimately, 100 years ago, if I hired somebody to fix my roof, he would show up in the morning, I'll make him tea, I might even make him lunch, I'll pay him at the end of the day, and he'll show up tomorrow and we'll do the same. Now, with today's tax codes, with today's legislation, with today's society, the way we build it, which fundamentally makes perfect sense, there's no good way to do that kind of flexibility. So what you end up doing instead is enrolling them in a payroll process, verifying all the documents, doing it all manually in a system that was designed for ultimately full-time employees. Even if the guy might be just fixing your roof for 3 months, 3 weeks, and be done with it. So if you take that premise at the beginning and say, I want to pay my employee immediately, I want to be in a situation where I can have somebody starting up in the morning and be able to buy lunch from his earnings. And that eliminates payday lenders. That eliminates a lot of these check-cashing ecosystems that have grown up around the financial inefficiencies of short-term employment. And of course, if you take that to the next conclusion, a lot of these workers are migrant workers, which means there's also remittance back into it, where the money goes from point A to point B. They can actually pay their family immediately, which means you can have somebody working abroad being sent there to make ends meet, and within days, that money actually is in cash, in the hands, in days, hours, potentially even, in hands of their family back home. Of course, it's not just construction going forward. We're then looking at different markets, cleaning services, and things around, for instance, the very first client actually looks at the hospitality industry. So we're looking at these short-term, low-wage employees that have been left behind by the complexities of how we process payroll today. And a lot of ancillary services and products just start fitting very nicely around that premise.
Okay. And so you said it's already in place. You've had some tests with it. What industries do you think this would like really excel at?
Well, because we've been focusing on the construction industry, and construction is just notorious for blocks of payments being squeezed and delays in releasing payments to workers. So we target to the construction industry. It's mainly for low. It works well for low-paid workers where living paycheck to paycheck is a reality. Now, I had one guy who, city guy earning a lot of money. He said to me, "Oh, I'm quite happy being paid once a month," and I'm sure he is because he's saving money. But for, I would say, half the population, it's critical to have access to that money pretty much automatically when you need it. And for me, there was a line in the sand when Bitcoin first came along, and then blockchain and Ethereum, where the old world, which is, it's, the delays in payments, it's a thing of the past. My nephew was here today, and he's 15, and I had another chat with him about ETCH, and he said, well, that's the future. Why would people wait to be paid for a month? So it's so that's why we're excited to bring this, to be the first company that's going to bring this to the market. And starting with construction, but it's for anybody where there's a lot of turnaround with staff, and people need the money quickly.
Okay. And with the target that you have in mind, I'm sure some of the viewers out there are kind of wondering, well, most of these individuals, just realistically thinking about it, probably don't use apps that much, or they're not sitting on their smartphones or trading cryptocurrencies all the time. So how do you reach the target, and how do you make sure that they understand fully what a wallet is, how do I spend it, and just basically managing it all?
Yeah, that's all going to be buried in because there's not going to be any mention of blockchain or smart contracts or anything on our app. It's purely, the worker has the app so they can see how much money is flowing in per second to their accounts. And then they're issued a payments card that they can go and pay, buy stuff, take money out of an ATM. So for them, there's nothing new. Yeah, they don't need to know about this technology. It just means it's a great system to have and for them to understand. So that's
Okay, and you're able to immediately send from this application to, like, let's say another bank account or PayPal or the traditional payment forms?
Well, in time, Thomas will explain a bit more on that, but yeah.
Right. I mean, ultimately, the best way to look at it is to start addressing the question of the tokens, actually, that exist in each system. So there's the ETCH fundraising token that basically supports the development of the platform, and at the same time also acts as a utility payment for services that the platform will render going forward. And then there's also the ETCH payment token, which is designed around the concept of a fiat currency that is held on deposit with the employer or with a payment processing platform. And that deposit, of course, creates still in the blockchain, tradable tokens that are backed one-on-one by fiat. So there is a ETCH Pay token that is just worth £1 and it can be redeemed on demand with the employer at £1 But of course, it acts as a tradable asset, which means there will be exchanges, both ones we will explicitly partner with and the ones that will simply pop up to take advantage of the fact that £1 million backed by a large coffee chain is actually a good thing to see on a blockchain.
Okay. Now,
and I think,
sorry.
Yes, the question then is, why do you need a bank account? Because we are turning money into a flow of money. So we're turning static money into programmable money, and I'm sure other people will come along and attach things to that flow of money. So, for instance, the rents can flow direct to the landlord account instead of going through a bank account. And that's something which Thomas explained in one of the previous videos on how that would work. And it's all new, unbelievable time, automatic streaming of money. And it's the question then is, traditional bank accounts will be, why do we need them? Because we'll be able to do everything through our wallets.
Right. Well, I think that there's always going to be a core target of people who are a little bit afraid of cryptocurrencies and all of that. So that's why you're simplifying the app and making sure, that the average person's able to understand that. But with this, so we have one target, and you're able to certainly grow it to other targets as well, because as soon as the base is there, as soon as everything's built, you're able to scale it up. What do you view the long-term plan of this? Because for any investor, I'm sure they'd be happy with the next couple of months you get everything rolling, but where do you see this over the next couple of years?
So we see, because we're building a protocol, we're building this on a protocol level, and yes, we are building the actual payments, the payroll engine itself. We want to allow other people to come and use our protocol. So all the other payroll facilities, companies out there, when they've realised that society is moving to real-time payments, then they'll be able to come and use our system, and of course they'll need to pay for the system with the ETCH tokens, which in itself is the reason why we're doing this sale now, which is coming to an end on Wednesday night. Which is when? Our ICO. That's why we're doing the ICO now. Yeah, is that we've got 40 million tokens out there, and the more. Okay, Thomas. I think you're still with us. There's 40 million tokens, and the more companies we get on board, including some very big. We had a talk with a company that does the payroll for one of the biggest coffee chain in the world, and they've got 270,000 employees. They were saying, this is real. This is something which our customers would like to embrace, because a lot of the workers that are, they're earning minimum wage. So these employers are looking for anything they can add to make it better for the employer. Okay, so I'm kind of curious, how are you seeking out these employers? Is there any strategy? Well, we're quite in a very fortunate place, because when I first met Thomas is the technical coordinator for something called the Construction Blockchain Consortium, and I would say nearly most of the big construction firms have signed up to that consortium to embrace blockchain technology, and we are the first application to be a spin-out from the consortium, which gives us access to all of those customers. They've already signed up to the consortium to say, we are embracing smart contract blockchain technology, and we are the only startup, a blockchain with a product to go and into that industry at the moment. So we're in a very fortunate place to have all these on, they're ready for us. Gotcha.
And on the other hand, also it's a question about what are the value proposition for the employer in this space, because it's very clear to see it from the employee perspective of what they get in money in the bank account straight away, etc., etc. But fundamentally, what's it for the employer? And in many cases, this is a highly competitive market, which means people are looking at how do we make sure that we can give something extra to retain the best employees without having to pay them more ultimately, which would be counter-competitive in the market. This provides a very nice way to do that, especially at today's interest rates, which basically means you'll be struggling to make any return on investment on that money sitting in your bank account for a month anyways. And you'll get a lot more investment from simply giving it to your employee. Earlier, he saves some 20, 30, 40, 60, 100% of a payday loan. That, of course, makes him more interested to come back to the office, come back to the work site next day and next day. So we started in the construction industry, actually, and we were very clear for the first 6 months to actually make it construction-centric. So we developed a demo around the proximity sensors based on STMOsh technology, which is an iBeacon solution, etc., to simplify the process of registering and tapping in and out ultimately onto the work site. That has some implications on the security of the work site and a few other ancillary benefits in addition to payroll processing. And we've been approached by various industries that all have the same situation. Lots of stuff that change on a regular basis, so quite a big rotation. The rotation is expensive. So if we can get them excited about working, would you work after working for an edge-enabled company? Would you go for a competitor that's not edge-enabled? If that means that you stop being paid for a month, maybe not so much. You have to pay more, which is unlikely in this kind of industry. So you get this additional retention. You get the social responsibility angle. You get the perspective that you are seen as a leader in that field, and at the same time, you also simplify your entire payroll. Payroll is ancient. It's one of these platforms that nobody has touched in 50 years. You issue these odd-looking forms, you sign in and out of the work site on some piece of paper that hopefully doesn't end up in the mud by the end of the day and somebody has to recreate it. This can just be digitized today, and that's where we come in.
Okay. And now you did say you're one of the first companies with this kind of idea. Do you have any competitors right now or any possible competition that's going to be coming up within the next couple of months?
Yes, I've been running a meetup in London called No Man for the last 2.5 years. We meet every 3 to 4 weeks, and it's a place where people with ideas, blockchain ideas, and people with looking for the talent, people with money looking to invest, they all come together. And I met a guy a month ago, and he said that he nearly didn't come to the meeting because he's a competitor for ETCH. And he said, I've highlighted the same problems you guys have highlighted. I think this technology is going to nail it. And so he was I wasn't going to come, and I was like, wow, fantastic, because we need to get this out there. So we need people. We need to change the way society think about wages. So the more competitors we have, it's better for everybody. Because everybody needs payroll. And there's only so much that we can deal with. But that's why we're doing this protocol level. So our competitor, the guy that came, will be using our protocol because it's easier for him. Because there's one thing that other startups don't have, and that's Thomas, who, as you can see, has been very tired because he's been flying all around the world the last few days. And Thomas has been able to solve the issue of scalability on the blockchain, and that's how magic starts. So we're quite confident that yes, there'll be competitors, but they will come to us to use our protocol to deploy their solution.
Okay, so there will be competitors, but worst case scenario, you're going to deal with them, and it's going to probably improve whatever system you already have in place. Because
it's a healthy thing. Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, it's capitalism. You need competitors. It helps out with the clientele. It helps out with the investors. Helps out all parties, as long as you're updating, of course. Now, with building everything, the protocol, was it difficult? Are there any specific challenges that you have?
Well, there are a couple of clear challenges here. One is the scalability. The other ones are the usual issues around security and stability of Ethereum blockchain, which we actually even witness today in terms of the bugs we get that have been fixed. So one way to address it actually is not to be fully married to one blockchain. And I'm fortunate enough to have been involved in a blockchain community for a number of years, back since very early Bitcoin era, accords and all that, which allows me to look at how it can be implemented across multiple different chains. Because fundamentally you're processing just different information, different proofs of having worked. It's almost a proof of work in a sense. You're processing these proofs of work receipts. Avoid any confusion with proof of work. You call them work receipts. But at the same time, you also process payments in real time. So marrying those two elements together, that has been a challenge. But it's something that we wanted to solve ahead of the ICO as part of our technology demonstrator. So in many ways, I'm fortunate enough to have witnessed the creation of Ethereum, and that has been quite an interesting space, because it demonstrates the extent to which you can take early technology demonstrators and use them to evolve the next generation solutions.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, we all have those moments. It's just there's so many things going on. Oh my goodness. By the way, I have to ask, because I see, Tomasz, there's Polish writing. So you're in Poland right now, correct?
I'm indeed in Poland right now, yes. I'm from Poland. I'm indeed in Poland. I'm indeed in Warsaw.
Oh, you're in Warsaw as well. I'm curious, which coast is that? Is that in a mall? Arcadia or something?
It's indeed in the mall, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is in the Galleria, yeah.
There we go. No, that's crazy. Oh, man. All right. So
I found out that it's going to be actually quieter here than at the airport, so
no, of course.
25 minutes, so jumped over.
It's difficult when you've got so many things going on. You're just trying to organize and make sure that it's all up to schedule. And of course, when was it, Friday, I had to go out, get a second router, just make sure I'm on the second router now. You never know what's going on in the tech world. There's always challenges with everything.
And things are so global. I mean, you are literally from Chicago. I've been to Chicago a couple of weeks back. It's all back and forth, actually, in this community, because everyone is so global, and if you take the industry as it is, which is the fueling factor in all of the products that we're actually seeing in the ICO world, you get people to just start treating airplanes as buses and trains of the old era. You go onto one and you spend a day and you go back.
Right. And with that, I actually I'm curious, which market are you going for first? Is it Poland? Is it UK? Is it America? What are you looking at?
It's the UK. Yeah, it's the UK first. So we're based in London, even though I'm home this weekend in North Wales. You can probably hear my children in the back frantically trying to get into the office. But the office is down in London, and we are there. And that's where we're based. That's where we've got the community, the Nomad community, and so we're focusing in London with a UK company. It's one of the first ICOs from the UK, and then we are looking then to expand Europe, and then of course the States and rest of the world.
Gotcha. And with America, will there be any specific challenge for the American investors due to SECs and ICOs and that?
I think it's been such a grey area for everybody, and it's down to the individual person who's looking at these ICOs to make that judgment. We are quite confident with the utilities of our token, and we work hard with our lawyers for months and months.
Gotcha.
To be able to launch.
And
so it's,
with the details of the token, so earlier you said there was 40 million tokens, correct?
Yes. It's 100 million in total.
100 million in total, but 40 million that are going up.
Yes. Okay.
Now, could you just do a quick run through of all the details, the dates, and whether there's any specific rounds and what the tokens, where all the tokens will be assigned, pretty much?
Yeah, so we did a pre-sale in July, but we did a pre-sale initially.
Okay.
To get things going. As you can imagine, the cost of the it's quite an expensive thing to do an ICO, and so we got pre-investors, pre-token investors, and then the 40 million that we're releasing now. So the foundation, we've set up a foundation called called ETCH Projects Limited, but it's actually the ETCH Foundation. We've applied for the foundation status from the Companies House, and so we are locking 20% of the tokens, or the foundation tokens, on ICE. The founders and our first, the team, we've put 20% to one side, and then the rest is to pay for the marketing and the early contributors to the sale.
Okay.
But there will be no more. Yeah, there will be. It's 100 million, They're priced at 12 pounds, 4.5 pounds each, and that's it. There won't be any more. So when the big boys come along wanting to use our platform, they will need to buy those tokens somewhere. There is no other way anybody can use our platform, only those tokens. And what we've done, which I think will be the benchmark for other ICOs, is that we are putting a board of governance in place as part of the ETCH Foundation. And the main role of the governance board is to look after the interests of the token holders and to make sure that we, as the founders and as the team, that we always have the token holders in mind. Because I think it'd be quite easy for some of the ICOs, which I'm aware of, for them in the future to maybe forget about the token holders, where we will, the situation we will have is that anything that we do will be on license from the foundation. And the foundation will only give us, the founders, the license if we've got the token holders in interest in mind.
Gotcha.
So I think, and we've got amazing people who are going to join the consortium. The first guy is a guy called Ross Morey, who he's got over 20 years experience with companies. He's sold a few big companies. He's now working as an advisor for Deloitte in the blockchain space, and he's our first guy we've got on board on that governance. And another guy is a barrister, which we hope to get in time. So I think we're going to be in a strong position to show other people how these ICOs should be done.
The second guy was a minister, or what?
No, the second guy is a barrister that we hope to get on board.
A barrister. A barrister. What is that?
Barrister, a lawyer.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Interesting little language thing.
Indeed, British English. Barristers, solicitors, no attorneys.
See, that's one of those things I actually had to learn here, going to university here in Poland. The British English, there are some words that it's just like, you think it's all the same, but it's these slight differences that you're like, whoa, they actually do account for 10% or 15% of like these little weird conversational kinks. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
With what you were talking about, the governance board and keeping care and in touch with the investors, the token holders, will there be, let's say there's forks or there's updates, how will the investors, token holders, be able to find out the information in the best way?
Well, we are, by the nature of our meetups in London, we're going to have a monthly meetup for updates for ETCH. So that's somewhere where people can come in person to see us. But also we'll be releasing information all the time through the website. Very much keeping people informed. And the customers that we have lined up, which will be coming part of the of the platform. So there's going to be some very interesting and exciting news that we can share quite quickly.
With the monthly meetups, where can people find out the information about which dates and what times and the locations of that?
Yeah, it's if you go to meetup.com, and the meetup group is called No Man, and it's based in London. So it's an Ethereum and blockchain meetup.
Okay. The group was named again what?
No Man.
No Man. Okay.
Yeah, No Man.
Gotcha. So people are going to be updated, and this is every single month. Is there a specific time, or is this just going to keep going on until
No, well, it's been running for 2.5 years already.
Okay. Okay, so
it's an established. It's not something we're going to start. It's an established meetup, and we've got just under 1,000, I think, members in that meetup group.
Gotcha.
And we've where we've managed to secure some amazing offices in London based on the meetup group alone, because they're keen to get the blockchain community in the space. There's a place called Rocket Space in London, and so the normal meetup group is going to be bigger from now onwards, even though we normally get 70 people to a meetup. Now I think we'll be hitting 100, 150 people every time, which will be amazing.
Gotcha. Thomas, you hanging in there?
Absolutely. I mean, I have one of these things that I used to work briefly just traveling every day, so I'm quite used to that. Just staying alert.
Oh man, gotta work, even on Sundays. That's where the money's to be made. So
well, exactly, and I mean, especially in the world of blockchain, where ultimately things just can happen, and they have to happen around everything else.
I mean, you always have to be updated with this. The people who are like the average consumers, they don't fully understand Bitcoin or Ethereum. They see a hard fork and they're like, what's going on? They're completely confused. And just to be able to explain that, the technology is changing every single month. So you need professionals, or else you're just completely out of the loop. And you can't invest if you have no idea what you're doing. Now,
exactly.
With this, there's going to be a lot of investors who, you're mainly on two sides. Either you know what blockchain is, you've been sitting in crypto for months or maybe even years, you've invested in some other projects, maybe some other ICOs as well. And then you have the newbies who, this may be the very first ICO they ever invest in. What kind of advice would you give to the to the introductory investors out there?
Well, I would say, you've got to look at the future and think, where will this technology make a huge difference? And if it's a future where you think, oh, okay, well, you could use blockchain, or you could use a SQL database, it's like, do you really need a blockchain? So those ICOs, in my view, they've got a lot of work to justify. Where with us, because there's one thing that the blockchain has allowed us to have with smart contract. There's programmable money, and we can only do it with blockchain and smart contracts. So I would look for things where the technology, it can only work with this technology. Not with any other technology, only with this technology. And I think that's where I would be looking to spend some money in buying those utility tokens.
Okay.
And I'd kind of caution it from the very cautious perspective. I'm kind of trying to throw some ice water into it to a large extent. Take a look at first of all, what actually is the utility you're enabling, because I always divide investors actually in ICOs broadly into three categories in terms of mentality for it, not necessarily the skill level, but mentality of why you do it, especially if you start talking to them 6 months in. There's some that do it because they simply believe in what is the project they're supporting, what they're donating towards, what is the dream that's going to happen, and they're not looking at any returns, and they're not looking at any promise of returns, which most of them cannot be quantified in any way whatsoever, especially in the volatile space of blockchain. Then you have the second group who simply says, hold on, this needs to get built, and either it succeeds or it fails. But the failures are just as educational as successes. They bring a lot of development to the community, they broaden the community. Ethereum wouldn't be at the price point it is today if not for dozens of failed ICOs. Each of them had produced 20, 50, 100 Ethereum developers that were inspired and joined the community and started contributing in different places. Then, of course, on the flip side of that, you had people who speculate. And if you speculate, you better know what you're doing. And you better read the idea of what is the underlying value, because clearly as you're speculating, there's no underlying value, or you're just assuming that people will value it at a better price going forward, and there's zero statement from the team that actually can be used in any way to support it, because from the perspective of anybody in this space, this simply represents the future utility the platform will bring. So kind of looking from those perspectives, we step back and say, okay, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to accomplish a utility exit? So you hold, if you were to use the financial terms, you hold until actually the team delivers what the team wants to deliver, or simply a contribution. And I've been in the blockchain space in the days when faucets existed. So you got things such as you donate 50 Bitcoin to a hole in the wall, and as a you don't at all support the community, because you have these Bitcoin sitting there, 50 at a time, just being given out when you want them. So you have the second group, and you have the third group, simply saying, whatever goes. That's I guess standard investment advice applies. It's volatile, it's risky, there's no guarantee it'll outperform the underlying token in the short term. In fact, no asset will ever be able to do that, and be able to do that.
Gotcha. And with these investors, do you think you should be looking more at the short term or the long term? Like by short term, I mean less than 3 months, or long term, more, a couple of years.
Yeah. When you think about the startup world, you need to allow time for people to actually build the system. And I think there's been quite a few of the ICOs which I think it's been an unfair criticism for, like weeks after they got the money, people looking for the product, and they're saying, "Come on, guys, where is it?" And so I think there's some people expect to have instant return, which in itself, you've got to allow people time, to build these things and to get the customers on board. We made a decision that we would only launch with the demo in place, and that's what we've done. But I think there's been quite a few ICOs recently where it's been unfair, the criticism, saying, "Come on, you've got all the money, come on, guys," and it's just been a few weeks.
Right.
I think more patience is needed in this space.
I mean, with any investment, you should be definitely looking at the next couple of years. Of course, there's going to be those who might even sell within the first couple of days, but that's just the minority right there. So far we're doing really good, and there's a lot of good details here. I think one of the most important things that some investors might be thinking about are what's going on with the exchanges. Do you have any particular exchanges that you're looking at?
Well, there's of course the decentralized exchanges, which anybody can put their tokens on. It's the big exchanges. And there's, as you can imagine, there's quite a backlog. But I've been hearing that they're asking huge sums of money, $250,000 was one of them, just to have the conversation. Because there's so many ICOs now. We haven't been in a much better position to get our tokens on the exchange because of the people and the companies and the volume that we will have. So you can imagine what the volume of payroll for one company is.
Right, just
and then 10 companies.
Yeah.
So we can be in a position where we will have a huge volume of on the exchanges. And so I'm the talks we've had. I'm quite confident that we will make progress quicker than most. But the reality is that the big exchanges, there's a huge backlog.
Gotcha. And with this, so for those who are interested, there's 40 million tokens that are going up. And you need to, of course, do your proper research where you, of course, go onto the website, go look at the white papers, go that. But the main important thing is you need an Ethereum wallet that will work. Because if you send it from, let's say, Coinbase, and you guys send in the tokens, it's not going to work, obviously. Coinbase might take it, or it's just going to disappear into thin air. And you should get familiar with that, of course. But when is the last date that you'd be able to purchase these tokens?
It's on Wednesday, 18th, this Wednesday.
And that's closing at what time?
Well, it's 6 p.m., which is summertime.
Okay, gotcha. And then after that, what's going to be the next couple of weeks from the timeline?
Well, we are moving into our new offices, which is very exciting. We are currently rebuilding the website to deploy the website as a consumer-facing site, not just a ICO site, because I think that's really important. This is what we're doing. The ICO is just a way to get people on, interested and to participate in the sale. What's critical for everybody is that we are onboarding customers, and we are getting the traction in the real world. And I think what we will have is one of the very first tokens that's going to be used outside the crypto world. A token that's going to be used by people who have never heard of blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And a token that's going to make a difference in people's lives. So it's using this technology, which is an amazing technology, to make things better for everybody, and I just can't wait to get it out there.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very exciting few weeks and months ahead of us.
For anybody who is interested and they're ready, but they have questions, they're able to reach out to you guys, correct?
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah.
And what would be the best way to reach you?
Well, we do have on the website, of course, the email address, Telegram, we're on Twitter, Facebook, but anybody can email me direct. I'm EUROS, which is EUROS, which is like the currency, which people think is quite a lid in space. So it's EUROS@etch.work. But anybody in the London area, we're in London all week. We'd be happy to, for people to come down and see the new offices, and just be part of the community.
Okay, that's fantastic. Because some companies would never be able to get their faces even on an interview, let alone open their doors and be like, oh yeah, come down if you want to chat, ask them questions face to face. That would definitely solidify a lot of questions out there in relationships. So we went through the main questions that investors would have. If you're interested in the project, please check out the website. All the details will be down in the description below. And my name is Mike Kubera. Hopefully you enjoy that. And we shall see you guys tomorrow.